And if everybody has questions, email them to me and we'll get those in writing. But so one of the questions I had asked was, if we decide we want to be true Alaskans and we don't want this help and all these regulations, what will it cost us? Because we all know there's a cost to when we want to be independent.
There is always a cost. I would say you can do anything if you have the right amount of money. So you can...
you find a better funder than the federal government.
So what I'm going to do in terms of these costs is lay out the money that ESEA brings in. And then some of this is a little bit of crystal ball because the answer gets very fuzzy, and you'll see why. But I think starting with the basis of ESEA brings in this amount of money. So let's go to that slide. The other thing that I'll do is... Oh,
we're on page 30 for those who...
Yes.
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
We're on page 30. So...
kind of skipped around here at the end to make sure.
And keep in mind the bottom line number, which is $69 million. So this is the funding that comes to the state for the Elementary and Secondary Education Act. And then what I'll do is give you detail behind any of these programs in a separate attachment from the PowerPoint that's also online for anyone that has that. And then I have 4 examples of 4 school districts that I brought, primarily because I thought it was school districts members were familiar with, that it could make sense to them. So let me just start with this. What I did is broke down every program under the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, the amount of money that that program brings in, and then just so you see the state agency impact, I put the number of employees at the department that are funded from that line item. So ESEA Title I grants to the LEAs, we have a responsibility to monitor all of those. That is $37,200,000 that comes in. The vast majority of that goes out, well, that money goes out to school districts, of which there are seven people at the department who monitor and make sure that those things are compliant. I'm not going to walk through each one of these because what you can do, let me now refer to the 2 attachments. What you can do is on the first attachment and on the online, if people are looking for what I'm referring to as the first attachment, each document was either labeled 1, 2, or 3 at the beginning, and I checked online and they have those labels on the ledge page.
Right.
So I'm referring slide 30. What's behind that is something we provided to you as legislators during the legislature, but I just pulled the federal grants related to Elementary Secondary Education Act. So if you want to study a little bit more, well, what is the 4th one on here, which is Title I, Part 1003G, School and District Improvement, number 4. I've labeled it in this document as number 4, and it appears on the 2nd page, and then that can tell you the purpose of that program. Let me also describe one other thing about the pages that back up this document. You'll see a % at the end of each of these columns, so if I can just take you to the first page of our Title I, it says Title I, Part A, Grants Basic. It's in bold. Then at the end of that paragraph description, which describes the purpose of that program, it says funding is 95.6% of the total grant award. There are 5 components of that first Title I grant. If you look at those percentages at the end of each of those lines will add up to 100%. So that's where the money that's where that $37,200,000 go. So the other thing that I provided you, which is labeled number 3, numerical 3 in the handouts, is I put together from last year's report, so this is FY13 money, the money that districts get. And I pulled 4 districts. I pulled Anchorage, Fairbanks, Mat-Su, and North Slope, because the members of this committee, that are communities that you're familiar with. If you want any one of the districts, though, it is provided in a report that we provide to the legislature every February 15th. We can get you copies of that. So I'm just going to use Anchorage to start with to walk you through it. but you can just go down the table and see the number of dollars that they get. In the first several there, it says No Child Left Behind Consolidated Application, and it has Title I, II, and III written there. Those are ESEA funds. And actually, you can continue on below that. I had meant to actually draw a line along all of them, and I actually missed some. So you have to go below that, and you see Alaska Community Learning Centers. That's ESEA grant. Actually, go several down. You'll see McKinney-Vento Homeless, Migrant Book, Migrant Program. Those are ESEA funds. And then you go near the bottom of the page to see Title I-A, Title I-D, Title I-D again, and those are all labels that match the document on slide 30 as well as the prior document, and you can see how much money they get. In this particular district, it gets $35,194,968 of federal funds. That's all of their federal funds that come through the Department of Education. That, though, includes their special ed money and those kinds of things. But those that match these titles. So that gives you a picture of the state money, picture of the district money. If you chose not to participate in ESEA, I can tell you definitely would lose all that money. You might lose more, and this is why. Some of the requirements that are here, as requirements here, actually also have crossover in terms of IDEA. So if you go into IDEA, you would find, oh, there are some things there.
What's IDEA?
I'm sorry for that. The Individual Disabilities Education Act. There'll be things in there that require that you provide potentially support for a school that's underperforming. But the only way to figure out if a school is underperforming is if you have an accountability system, which ours is tied in with ESEA. So there may be some costs there. Honestly, if this was really a path we went down, we'd have to really have lawyers digging into what are the implications, probably in IDEA, maybe with child nutrition services. I don't think so, but maybe. And certainly with career and technical education, Carl Perkins dollars, which is much smaller. It's about $4 million for the whole state. And I don't think there's an impact to impact aid, but we'd have to look at that. But I don't think there's an impact with that. So you would want to look broader. What I can tell you is this would be the cost. And then in terms of what does it really cost? Districts, I think if we had to weigh this out, they would probably say, yeah, there's bureaucracy to it, but the money they get, I bet they would say is worth the bureaucracy to it. There are some programs that have gotten so small where districts do say it's not worth it, and Carl Perkins is actually one where some of our districts simply don't participate because the paperwork is more than the amount they get to kids. But I don't know that that would be true with ESEA for any district.
Representative Josephson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess I'm a little confused. Mr. Morse, you said that this act looks like it's part of the LBJ War on Poverty and all the other initiatives that were passed in the 1965, actually that year. We've been receiving money through ESEA for 48 years. Some money. Mm-hmm. Is there someone, including anyone in this room, who thinks that we should stop doing that?
Through the chair.
Well, no, what I want to do, because this is